and that number would be 724-236-0430. I spent a week rehearsing that phone number. It's all I had to do. I was so proud of myself because last Monday I kept saying the last four numbers.
You had it boxed. You had it boxed.
But anyway, 724-236-0430. We do have a caller. In fact, we have a couple of people on hold. We have a couple of people here in the studio tonight. In fact, we're going to have the first official coin flip on the program to see which of these guys is going to be coming up first. So
let me see that coin.
Make sure they're not two-headed or
two-tailed. Heads is a picture of Bob, and tails is a picture of Cordell Stewart. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at the rules and regulations on how to win prizes here in the program. Again, when you're finished with your conversation, stay on the line. Or if you're here at the studio, stay at the podium. And you have a choice of, multiple choice, the Grand Salami, which is a sports trivia question without any hints, or the Mystery Profile, which is a lot of fun as well. You can only win the Grand Salami or the Mystery Profile once in a calendar month. In fact, you can only try the Mystery Profile once a month, okay? 15 seconds for the multiple choice, 20 for the Grand Salami, the Mystery Profile clue by clue. First-time callers will receive an extra prize. You can get the answers to the trivia questions that we ask on the program by going to my website, doubledribblebob.com. And I have a radio program that's on every Saturday morning. It's on sports history and sports nostalgia. And we call it Sports World. It's on WAVL, and they're 9:10 on the AM dial. All right, I guess, we've got plenty to talk about. The baseball playoffs are underway. Steelers did win. I don't know, I kind of feel empty about the victory, and that's just me.
Really?
So, I do.
I really had a really good feeling at the end of the game.
I'm glad we won. Well,
I mean, I really thought that they were going to go down there and score. I really did.
By the way, I have a grandson kicking out east.
Okay.
And his field goal was longer than the one that was kicked for the Steeler win yesterday. He had his first field goal.
Now, would he be the
Friday
grandson
night.
of your son-in-law that once made a famous kick his own self?
Yes.
Strange how that works, isn't it? Yes.
We'll take a break. We're coming back. And I believe Tony's going to kick it off on the phone first. So let's do the break, and we'll return here on Sportsline Trivia on Comcast Channel 190. Stay aboard.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Why do Arnold Furniture's customers continue to come back year after year? Maybe it's the personal touch that the Miller family has provided since 1975. Maybe it's the prices that are consistently lower than the competition. Or how about the selection? 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. Plus free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. The choice is obvious. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
Max and his son made their way homeward bound when mischievous rain dropped down, down, down. Safety was threatened by every roguish drip. They slipped and slid. They couldn't get a grip. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding them the right tire changes everything. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road in Natrona Heights. Tower Auto Sales gives you the luxury of choice because where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Let the experienced sales staff help you at Tower Auto Sales. Just buy it. Contact Mike Fanto at Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox. Again, go to my website, doubledribblebob.com, get the answers to the trivia questions that we ask. And we're going to go to the phones now and say hello to Tony, who called in first. Tony, welcome to the program. How are things in L.A., Lower Arnold?
How are you guys?
Great, Tone.
We're doing fine.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
you're going to be in another tax bracket. You keep working like this.
I know this is killing me. That's all right. We've worked it in. We have an agreement.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought maybe George couldn't find Leechburg.
No.
He's going to put half his salary into a Swiss account.
That's Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands. Hey, that game yesterday.
Which one?
Yeah.
Stillers. I think I'm in the minority here, huh? Go ahead, Tone.
Well, anyhow, you know, the game shouldn't have been as close as it was.
That's true.
Shouldn't have been?
Shouldn't have been.
I agree.
Number one, Mendenhall. He takes off around the left side, holding the ball in the right hand, which you're taught that when you play Sandlot, they'll tell you, run left, ball on the left, run right, ball on the right. And he had that guy beat around the corner. He's gone. And the ball slips out of his hand.
Yeah, Tomlin mentioned that today on his press conference. I believe ball security was what he came up with. So
did you see he pulled him out right away?
He did pull him out right away. Well, I mean, there were a lot of things like that going on. I mean, besides that, and Antonio Brown, when the guy threw his shoe after it came off, and that kind of cost him too. But that, Tony, and the penalties, I'm sure you were going to get to that too. But
oh yeah, and Cotchery tripping over his own feet. That was another
interesting.
touchdown.
Yeah, I had never seen that one before. It looked like he tried to trip himself.
Yeah,
Saves some time.
Like he was paid not to go in, huh?
Right, exactly. That was first thing.
But where would we have been without Mendenhall?
That's true. Hey, it was nice. It was nice to have him back, though.
It's surprising. It just seemed like there was open holes yesterday for some reason, and
maybe because the back could get through them.
Yeah, well, maybe so, but I don't know. I don't think there's nothing wrong with Redmond. He runs hard too.
It's a chicken.
Well, maybe he doesn't hit the holes right. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's like a chicken egg type thing. I'm not exactly sure. It's I just.
Well, it's a nice situation to be in as long as he holds up.
Well, here's the point, though. I thought that Redmond ran better, almost because Mendenhall was back.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. Did he feel more comfortable being back in his second banana role?
Doesn't that always happen with every team?
It kind of does. I mean, I was surprised by that. Another thing that surprised me too, Tony, was that Jonathan Dwyer was scratched, was deactivated, and boy, you talk about falling from grace. It looked like he was going to be he was the starting back the first game, and here we go to game 4, and he's already not playing at all. He doesn't help you on special teams much, and he's in and out of the doghouse too. That guy. So I
don't know, but some guys are starters, and some guys have to come out of the bullpen.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Exactly. You put them in as a starter, and they don't do it, but you put them in, like I said, out of the bullpen, and they do terrific.
Tony, let's critique the other team for a moment. What do you think of Michael Vick's play?
Oh, my God. He looks like he just come out of prison.
Oh.
Well, actually, he did.
Like his first game right out of prison. I don't understand all this fumbling and he's undecided back here.
Second game in a row in which he did commit, the turnovers that cost the team.
Bob, did you hear his explanation for the fumbles?
No.
Because I guess that was God's plan. So I hadn't realized that God was so interested in the Eagles-Steelers game. That the Vic fumbling was that's going to make him stronger down the line. He said, you know what?
Well,
if I was an Eagle fan, my thought would be hold on to the ball. And especially when you're going in for a touchdown and costing your team points, which he's done repeatedly the last couple of weeks. How they beat Baltimore, I have no idea.
I would rather come off of a bye week and play Thursday.
How do you like
I don't understand.
Yeah, how about that?
So we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to prep for a pretty big ball game
right,
for Thursday night.
Players had off today.
Well, no, you're off on Monday, and
the players.
Well, you still get mentally
and they're basically going to
prepared.
have a practice tomorrow. And Tomlin said today it's basically mental reps. By the way, I enjoy mental reps. As a matter of fact, I ran you should have seen that 100-yard dash I ran in a mental rep the other day. It was pretty good. Mental reps. Yeah. So they have one day of practice, and then basically I guess they'll do a walkthrough on Thursday, and then get on the plane and fly down there.
Right. Well, hey, Thursday's the game, so there ain't much time to do anything.
And what about the snaps that were sailing over or out of the fingertips of
They seemed.
Ben.
They just seemed like their heads weren't in it.
Yeah, they didn't seem like there was any effort. Like they
Well,
were
I think
just
there was-
like nonchalant.
I just think it was one of those things where they weren't sharp. That it was almost like, well, they hadn't played, and you need to get into the rhythm of actually playing. I think offensive lines get better when you play every week, and you get into that rhythm of what your practice routine is, and then you play the game on Sunday. And I just think that they've been all off this year. And Tomlin mentioned today that they really haven't found their identity as a team yet, because they really haven't gotten into a routine. And when that happens, and you're not going to get into one by playing on Thursday and then having 10 days off before you play the following Sunday night. They don't even have a Sunday day game.
That's another thing that the league's trying to protect the players, as they would say, and then to have games like that, and, goofy
Right.
schedules, and I just don't understand it.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And I did hear a discussion on the tail end. Somewhere over the weekend, they were talking about interference with games on a Friday night for the high school kids. Where is this happening?
Well, that's always been that way. They didn't want to do it on Friday because of the high school game.
Well, okay, but is it happening somewhere is the question
Well, college
I'm
games.
asking.
There's college games on Friday. It was because I was talking about the Pitt game last week. The
Yeah,
Pitt
but-
played on.
Yeah, but it's not.
I guess they're
in
not
every
worried about,
Friday.
Right.
Yeah, but still, even once a
That's-
year is.
Yeah, that's been said for years, Bob. They wouldn't play on Friday because they didn't want.
It was an understanding that the kids would have their Friday nights.
Right.
Colleges would have Saturdays. The
That's
pros
right.
would have
Pros
Sundays.
would have Sunday.
And then the
Now they
greed-
have Thursday and who knows.
Thursday and Monday. Yeah.
And one more I want to talk about is Tiny Bubbles. You know who that is?
Tiny Don Ho.
Huh?
Don Ho.
Yeah. Remember he sang that
He
song?
did. I know.
Well, if I was ruined, I'd call Paul Amal and have that song playing. I'd put a lay on him, and then I'd give him his layoff papers and said, "Thank you for all you
Boy,
did.
you are-
Go to
Boy,
you're
Hawaii,
rough.
enjoy
You
yourself.
are-
Goodbye." Because this guy is done, and I'm tired of hearing Pompiani and that Cook and that. Oh, look what he did. Oh, you got to have him. Have him for what? One play? I mean, how many games did he miss last year and the year before and the year before that? This guy is, he's accident prone,
All right.
and he's always hurt. And now, how long is he going to be out? Who knows?
It's going to be at least this game, and I mean, you're going to start adding them up again. I don't know. Tomlin even said that Woodley's injury was not as severe as Polamalu's was, but he doesn't expect Woodley to be able to play this week either. I think at the best you can hope to get Woodley back for the Cincinnati game in 2 weeks. And
Then I heard that somebody today said that he wasn't, he shouldn't have played. He wasn't ready to play, but he played anyhow. And then
why did he exactly?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
just.
All right, let's do some trivia, Tony.
Okay, guys, hockey, forget it. Baseball's all over. So the only thing we got to talk about is the Steelers. That's all.
That's it. All right.
That's it. All right. Playoffs, who cares? Baseball.
Pick a trivia question, Tone.
All right. We're going to go salami, number
All right.
5.
Number 5.
Well, this has been around before, but maybe you have forgotten this. And remember, I am not rooting for you.
I know you never do. It's amazing.
Why?
You got a home run hitter on your on your show, and you root against him. I think
it's
you're
all-
part of the Pirate organization. I think you'd make a good general manager down there.
All right, it's all in fun. Here we go.
I know that. Go ahead.
Who is the only person, the athlete, to win championships in 2 different sports?
Who is the only person to win championships in 2 different sports?
In other words, either baseball, football, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, baseball, whatever. Championship. In other words, it would be a World Series and
Yeah. And a Super Bowl.
as an example, right?
Ooh,
You get 5 seconds.
5 seconds. You just explained the thing to me. Oh, brother. Marshall Falk. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, anybody in the audience, by the way, since we have to give the answer, either one of you 2 guys want to give us a shot?
2 guys.
Well, you're right, but
Whoa.
no prize. Tony, yep, Gene Connolly.
Who?
Gene Connolly
Connolly, Tony,
pitched,
yeah.
pitched for the Milwaukee Braves when they won the 1957 World Series, and then he gave up on baseball, played for the Boston Celtics, and won the championships
with the Boston
in
Celtics.
1959, 1960, and 1961. And if I'm not mistaken, Bill Russell was with the team at the time, right?
I would assume, and then he and Pumpsy Green quit the team and went to Israel.
All right.
That's what happened.
All right, guys. Thank
Tony,
you.
thanks.
Talk to you next week.
Thanks,
All right.
Tony.
Guys, just to let everybody know, we have a couple of folks here in the studio audience tonight. We're going to flip a coin when we come back from our next break to see which of these two gentlemen will come up next on the show. Stay aboard. Sportsline Trivia continues in a moment. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. Lower Borough Attorney Gino F. Peluso was honored to be the first AK Valley lawyer to serve as president of the Duquesne Law Alumni Association. For over 3 decades, Attorney Peluso has helped local people get what they deserve, providing his expertise in Wilson Estates, auto accidents, DUI, and bankruptcy law, where he serves as a debt relief agency helping people file for relief under the bankruptcy code. Call Attorney Peluso 724-339-8710 or visit attorneypeluso.com. Let his experience work for you. All right, once again, if you're interested here in calling the program, the phone number is 724-236-0430. I am so proud of myself. I finally have the number down pat.
I wrote it down and put it on the table.
Yeah, I see that. Stick 'em. Okay, two gentlemen. Can we get the camera on our two guests here? Terry and Ken. Okay. Ken, you got here first. We're going to let you call heads or tails.
Tails.
All right.
Tails. He calls. We have a head. Would you like to kick, receive,
I'll
or
defer.
defend?
Ken can go first.
What a gentleman.
Kick, receive, or defend a goal. Terry's deferred. Ken, which goal would you like to? Okay, forget it. We're in.
Okay, Ken, I guess you're going to talk Steelers first. Huh?
Yes, sir. My question is this the real Lawrence Timmons that showed up to play, or does LeBeau scheme make him better? Because when he's spying the quarterback, that's what I think he had him doing. Or is James Harrison that much of an impact that makes him that better of a player?
Very interesting. Timmons supposedly has this kind of ability. And people say all the time, and different players will say, and I even heard it yesterday, guys in the locker room after the game, that, well, you know, he's played well leading up to now. It's just that they had him doing different things. And I think a lot of it probably has to do, Ken, with covering, covering on passes out of the backfield and whatever. And then maybe you don't see him so much showing up in that in that area. But it's a 6th year, and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to burst on the scene. I don't think I ever saw him play a better game than he did yesterday. But see, I think it was more than what they schemed, though. I mean, it looked like that there was more effort, more enthusiasm, more something there. And I can't imagine that, especially after Woodley went out, I can't imagine that scheming to take care of Harrison would have opened Timmons up that much. So, it's tough to figure. I need to see one more game. I need to see what he does. I need to see what he does Thursday. It's going to be different. They're going to run a different defense because Matt Hasselbeck can't run. Now, if Jake Locker comes back and play, he can, but I don't know what his situation is going to be. You would figure if the guy missed Sunday, he's probably going to miss Thursday also, but we'll have to wait and see. But we know Hasselbeck is not that mobile anymore at his advanced age for a quarterback. So We'll see, but they're going to need him. I mean, Woodley's not going to be there. They're going to need people to make plays, and that's been the problem with this defense. There are only 5 teams in the league that have fewer sacks than they do. This is the Steelers we're talking about. They have 8 sacks in 4 games. So, you know, they have to make plays. They don't intercept the ball. They've had 1 interception. These are things they're going to have to do. It's the way of the NFL now. It's not the slow, methodical, then we'll make them punt and whatever. You need to turn the ball over. You need to pressure the quarterback. So, you know, that's what I would say. I hope it's the real Lawrence Timmons. Let's put it that way.
And if I could address this to Ken just for the heck of it, I'm listening to the ball game, and I've got the radio sound on instead of listening to the TV, which I could care less about. I would rather hear our local guys. But anyway, they were talking about the one penalty that we were called for, helmet to helmet. When they did the replay, it really didn't happen that way. At least that's what their opinion was. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see the replay on TV myself. Okay, I was in another room. But the explanation that Tunch gave was that these officials in the NFL have these game officials so primed about making these kinds of calls. They're going to take away a game from somebody one of these days with an improper call just because they're worried about not making that kind of a call. So I don't know, folks, if you did see the replay, but according to Tunch and Hillgrove, there was no contact with the helmet.
Yeah, it looked like it at first, and on the TV replay, Troy Aikman said the same thing, that at first when he saw it live, he thought, yes, absolutely. But when they showed it slowed down, then they're not so sure.
Which is, the officials don't have that advantage.
Well, exactly. I mean, they have to make the call, and like you said, they're basically drilled now that they want them to throw that flag and to slow down those defensive backs, which, you know, like I call it, you know, like when we used to play real football, and you actually could intimidate. So one thing I'll say about Ryan Mundy, and I'm not very happy with the way Ryan Mundy's played, and I don't think they are either. And Tomlin even said today that there's a possibility that Will Allen could get some time at that position, which should tell you something, because I don't think Will Allen can play from scrimmage anymore. But, you know, but his point was that, you know, here's a guy that, Mundy, that actually does make you pay the price for coming across the middle, but it seems like every time he does, he's hitting the guy in the head and costing his team 15 yards. So, you know, how worth it is it when you have to give up, you know,
Right.
you may intimidate the guy a little
Plus
bit.
you're giving the other team field position.
And the fact that they have over 100 yards of penalties every game now is just,
Right.
you can't sustain that. I mean, no offense is good enough to sustain, to be able to overcome a deal like that.
Ken, we've taken a lot of your time.
You did good, thanks.
What else?
That's all.
Well, we got to do trivia.
Trivia, what do you got?
Well,
Multiple
it's
guess. I'm
gonna
good
be
at
up to
multiple
you.
guess.
Michael, we're going to go with number 9. by
Okay,
the
here
way.
we go.
It's where we left
I
off.
believe this is a baseball question. The MLB part gave it away. What Major League Baseball team filed for bankruptcy during the Great Depression in 1933? What Major League Baseball team filed for bankruptcy during the Great Depression of 1933? The Cincinnati Reds, the St. Louis Browns, the Cleveland Indians, or the Washington Senators?
How about the Browns?
It is not the St. Louis Browns. That would have been probably my guess.
I'll tell you why it would have been mine, because they had so much financial difficulty that it wasn't much longer. Well, I wouldn't say much
was in
longer, another 10 years and they were
Right, they moved.
they were gone. Bill Vack had the
moved to
team.
Baltimore.
In fact,
Yeah.
he was that was the team, St. Louis Browns. If you recall, they had Eddie Goodell taking that, you know, the midget that took
Okay.
that one at bat. He had a jersey number that said 1/8, and
They stopped that.
they
after
were
one
doing
day, yeah,
they were doing everything to try to, you know. Anyway, it's the Cincinnati Reds.
which I would have never guessed.
If anything, there's the first strongest franchise in baseball,
And one of them,
Cincinnati.
Sure, and I mean,
Yeah.
Mark Shaw didn't even own them in 1930. I can't understand it.
Hey, Ken, thanks.
Thank you.
Ken.
All right, we're going to go to the limo man who's on the phone, if he is still there. Limo man.
Of course it's still here, but I cannot hear, like Tony the first time, could not hear him talk at all.
You couldn't hear him on the phone?
No.
Okay.
All right, we'll address that fact.
Okay, just want to let you know. The Phillies
I heard that.
And I talked to, and I did give him the doubledribbleballs.com for his birthday, Sam Huff, number 70.
Yeah, Sam Huff I worked with back in '82. I did a game, Pitt in West Virginia, and Sam Huff did my color.
Yeah, there's a street named after him in Morgantown, if it's still there after the fires.
He's still working with the Redskins, Sam Huff, but only on a limited basis now, I believe.
And he had a birthday recently, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's still with Sonny Jurgensen on WJFK.
Right.
Okay.
Radio 880. 980, sorry.
Do you remember Vaughn Hayes, Mike?
Who's that, Abner Haynes?
No, Vaughn Hayes.
Oh, Vaughn Hayes, I'm sorry.
It's kind of tough picking
Yeah,
up.
This one's difficult. I do remember Vaughn Hayes. He played for the Phillies. He played for Cleveland before that. And sweet swinging left-handed hitter, very smooth.
And is Alan Ashby any relation to Jay Ashby?
I don't believe so. Alan Ashby works.
I'll check that out.
Alan Ashby works with the Blue Jays now on their radio broadcasts. Does a good job up there.
Mike, they're looking for a replacement for Milo Hamilton. You ought to apply.
I know. He's finally retired at the age of 106, I believe. Yeah, Milo finally left Houston, and he is now gone. And so I figure that it would work out well because they wouldn't have to change a lot of the stationery. They could just keep calling me Milo. I'd answer, and it would work.
You know, it's really amazing how long it's been since Milo was in Pittsburgh, the early 70s, and he was with Fratteri.
Pole-wise in Squirrel Hill.
Yeah. Oh, he loved pull eyes. He did. He absolutely loved it. And I think the reason they went out of business is because Milo left Pittsburgh. I'm not exactly sure about that, but he wasn't too well loved around here because he followed Prince, and that was going to be a tough sell. So I liked him though.
The Indians hired Terry Francona from Beaver, PA.
Yeah, we may get into that later on. That Terry Francona gets to go back where his dad was a good player back in the day. So he said that wasn't the only reason he went there.
Fired.
Who's that, Don Limo?
Bobby Valentine was fired, and Marty Wills is now 80 years old.
Goodness.
Yeah.
One
And
right
Chuck
after him.
Pagano has leukemia, unfortunately.
Right, Chuck Pagano, which was very interesting yesterday, how the Colts, they talk about that emotion doesn't play. They like to say now, the new stats people, that emotion doesn't play a big part in sports. If you saw any of that Colts game yesterday, that had a lot to do with it, how they came back and beat the Packers like that. And they hand-delivered the football to the hospital to the coach.
Yeah.
And must have been a very emotional scene. We wish him the best.
Yeah, we do wish him the best. And tonight you will see Tom Surreal, number 24, with the Scott Green crew.
Oh, so Tom's
he's
got the
on
game
tonight.
tonight. That's an easy one, an easy trip to New York or Jersey in this case. Tom will be okay. He'll take care of himself out there. They had a thing on Sunday morning on the NFL Network. They threw up.
I gotta give you a long drive
Guess he's
into
leaving.
right center field.
Tell my story later.
Mickey Fazio.
Thanks, Limo.
I have to be honest with you. I could hardly understand. It was so broken.
Yeah, it was. It was distorted.
Well, you understood it better than I did.
I was trying hard. Well, I was guessing. I was guessing a lot. It was his connection. Yeah.
Well, obviously it
cell
had to
phone.
be
It was a
his.
cell phone,
it had-
obviously,
we
so-
got to get this guy a new cell phone. We'll take up a
Bob's
collection.
going to take up a collection. We'll be coming through. That's right. Second collection today will be for Limo's new cell phone.
And since we're doing this in a church, you two guys will pass the
Yeah,
basket later.
we'll pass the basket down and we'll handle it. It'll work out beautifully, I think. But by the way, do we have to go to a break now, or
No,
we have a
got
second?
about 4
okay,
minutes.
Good, because I wanted. Tony had asked, and I did a little research during the break. The amount of games that Troy Polamalu's missed recently. This starts in 2006 because his first 3 years he didn't miss any games. But from 2006 till now, and Bob asked me a percentage. I said, great. He wants me to do long division on the fly. Guess what? It turns out it's exactly 100 games played, so it's easy to do the division. He's missed 23 games
70.
since 2006, which means he's missed 23, almost a quarter of the games since 2006 he's missed. So that's a lot. I mean, that's a chunk. 23 out of 100. So, and that will count this one. It doesn't count this one coming up. I just had that he's played 2 of the 4 so far this year. And then he will also miss Thursday's game at least, and it's going to get higher than that. So, I mean, you're going to be nearing the 25% mark of games that he's missed, which means he's available 3/4 of the time. Yeah. That's a lot of games missed. I mean, it really is.
And to answer the Limo Man's question about Ashby, I see nothing on Wikipedia regarding a relationship between Alan and, wasn't that his question?
Yeah, I can't even remember who the other Ashby was he asked about. But
anyway, do we have anybody on hold? Okay. And we've got Terry coming up here, but we're going to do a commercial break.
Get him after the break.
And then we'll be coming up with that. So, again, we're going to give you the number, folks, and a reminder that every Monday night's program that takes place here with live streaming will be videotaped, put in a can, so to speak, and then what we're going to
That's old school there, Bob.
I can't help myself.
I don't think we have a can anymore.
On Thursday evenings, the program is seen in a replay at 8:30 on Comcast Cable Channel 190. So you have an opportunity. In fact, if you come up here, get on the show as one of the guests, you still have the opportunity, of course, if you're eligible to win a prize. But the point is, you can call your cousin in Kentucky or wherever that person may be and let them know that you're going to be on when you do it streaming-wise, of course, not on the replay. But anyhow, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, Terry, who won the toss but deferred, is going to be next up on Sportsline Trivia. Stay aboard. Mike and I will return in a moment here on streaming. Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a fourth generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from two locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell. Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
And Tower Auto Sales, of course, have been with us now for several years. You're invited to stop down, get acquainted with Mike Fanto and his crew. They offer the best products, the best selection, best customer communication, and most important, the best service after the sale is made. You can depend on them. Call Mike Fanto, 412-828-6202. Just buy it at Tower Auto. My radio program Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock on WAVL, and they're 9:10 on the AM dial. We're going to go to our studio audience, and a retired school teacher, if I can say that, Terry. Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome here to the program. Terry is... catches my website as well, and at times will give me an idea or two. Terry, good to have you on the show, and what's on your mind today?
Good evening. I almost said good morning. It's a habit.
Old habits.
Yeah, complain about the Indians for a couple minutes.
Sure.
Last week on your show, I remember you guys were talking about attendance figures, and you mentioned the Indians, I think, topped out at 1.5 million or something. And it reminded me of something I heard Tom Hamilton say, and the Indians announcer. He mentioned that it's not that they're not selling those luxury boxes anymore. It's the companies that were buying those luxury boxes are no longer in Cleveland. They've either moved out or have gone out of business, and so their economy is even more desperate, I think, than ours. And so they're really in bad shape. Terry Francona.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. They now have a jockey. I hope they can get some horses. I think if I was Terry Francona, I'd say, you know, here's X dollars I want for my salary, and you better be willing to spend Y dollars to get me some people to play, or I'm not coming.
I don't disagree with you at all. And you know, it's funny. They, it's the two situations in Cleveland and Pittsburgh now are very similar. They weren't before because the Indians were successful. But it's very similar now between the two franchises. And I like Hurdle. Hurdle has his, Hurdle has his things that drive everyone crazy. But I think he could do a good job too, but given the correct team. And I think the Indians are very much the same boat. But it's like you said, that so many things are different in Cleveland than they were, maybe even 10 years ago.
Sure.
They were selling out every game. I mean, they had influx of cash. They had, like you said, with the luxury boxes, they were all filled. The money was coming in. They were able to keep up with a payroll that was close to a team, maybe not the Yankees, but when Boston wasn't spending as much, they could, And then to think how things have changed just in those few short years, then they had that lead against Boston in the championship series, about to go to the World Series. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
And the bottom completely fell out for them. And now, it isn't going to be who can we get to augment the nice players that they do have, and they do have some. It's going to be, who can we trade Shu to make sure we get some prospects in return, and things along those lines. So the situations for many of those small market teams are the same, and the only ones that win are the ones that have really, really sharp front office guys, and are able to stock the minor league systems like they do in Tampa. I can't even say Oakland this time because their pitchers are, but the players that Bean has brought in there are mostly rejects and scrap heap guys from like Brandon Moss, But that your front office has to be sharp. And I'm not sure that's what's going on in Cleveland right now with their front offices is in a good place now. It's really started to go down when John Hart left.
Oh yes.
And I could be funny and say that when Neil Huntington left, that made a difference too, but I guess it didn't because now they have someone else who can go get their coffee for them. But it's so much about your general manager and what kind of and are you able to find players? Are your scouts good? Can you recognize talent? And I think that lacks in Pittsburgh here greatly. And I don't know what's coming up through Cleveland's farm system, Terry, but that's where it's going to have to be for them. These teams are going to have to win on the cheap, and they're just not going to be willing to spend the money. They don't make enough from their local TV contracts to support that huge payroll, and these owners just are not willing to spend at a deficit even for 1 year. And if that's the case, we're all going to be suffering.
Sure. Make a 4A league and move Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Kansas City and I say that the Pirates have been in Calvin Griffith mode for 20 years.
Speaking of Washington from a different era.
Yeah, Washington and Minnesota, because his idea was, I'm going to make money out of this, whether 5,000 people come or 35,000 people come. We're not paying anybody anything. As soon as they want to become free agents, they can leave. We'll bring up other guys, and we'll make our money selling pop and beer and pretzels. Speaking of football, did you hear, I think it was Georgia down in Atlanta, what their scheme was to boost attendance? They have been averaging something like 10,000 people at their football games in Atlanta's big 50,000 seat stadium. So they decided to drop $10,000 off the roof into the field at halftime. And the fans could run out and get as much money as they could possibly pick up. The attendance went up by 55 people.
Oh my God!
On a $10,000 giveaway night.
If giving away money's not going to do it,
he's no longer with the company.
Yeah, if giving away money's not going to do it. We've always had this idea, and this was to run the lottery when the Pirates really struggled back in the Three Rivers days when you had all those empty seats in that place. To do a progressive lottery, and everybody that walked in, your ticket number would be entered in a chance to win. But the catch is that every seat in the stadium goes in. And if nobody happened to be sitting in that seat that day, then it rolls over to the next game.
Oh.
And eventually,
builds the jackpot.
Oh, the jackpot would be enormous, and then you'd be selling the place out regardless of what was going on, just for the off chance that you win that jackpot.
Huh.
Yeah. You know,
well,
good idea.
We try. You try. You do the best you can. But like you said, Calvin Griffith mode. I like that. That is about it. And Bob Nutting has perfected it. and we're all the suckers, and I get told that all the time, and I admit it. I am.
Well, with an eye and an ear to what the economy is today, I wonder how much longer, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, or the NBA, is going to start feeling the pinch of people saying that we just can't go that often. So, I mean, you know, the home entertainment dollar only goes so far, and the kids are involved in everything.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's very strange to see, say, opposite the Steelers on Sunday, British Soccer League games being telecast. You know, I mean, there's strange things going on in sports right now to try to get that dollar for the entertainment value.
How long do you think the soccer thing's going to go?
I think they must be getting it really cheaply so that they can put it on as a filler.
I think it's taken the place of women's college basketball. I mean, because a couple of years ago, they really pushed women's college basketball to the point of that there was almost as many women's games on as there were men's games. I'm talking ESPN mostly here, and there would be these games would just be on constantly, and it would. And I wondered to myself, well, I understand Title IX. I know how all this works, and you know there must be an audience for it, or they wouldn't be showing it. And then every year you just notice they scale it back a little bit. And last year I was telling somebody that I can't even find a women's college basketball game anymore. You'll find a Brittany Griner game at Baylor. You maybe find a UConn game and a Tennessee game. And other than that, you could. I mean, they were very. And it's like eventually the networks get to the point where if they can't sell the advertising for it, they're not going to put it on anymore. So that kind of waned. And then you mentioned about the soccer, and it's like, and ESPN, they put out the scores are on the bottom line, and Liverpool, and I even made a joke about it one morning when we did a Saturday show. I followed the Liverpool game, whoever they were playing, and kept giving them, I said, I'm going to give score updates. Unfortunately, they don't score very often, so I don't know exactly how many updates we'll be able to get. Yeah, but, you know, there are people out there that like it, and I don't have a problem with that, but I just don't think that there's the mass following that they want you to think there is.
No. Terry, we're going to maybe delve a little bit more into this thing here, but what do you want to do for trivia?
Oh, whatever you'd like.
Well,
am I qualified for the mystery profile?
Yes.
Okay.
You can do that.
I can try that.
Okay. Mike, is it your turn?
I believe it may be, yes.
Would you, then here, I'm going to give you the commercial.
Oh, I can read the copy. I have lots of practice on Friday nights. We have lots of these. That's the mystery profile tonight, of course, Mattio's Pizza and Subs. And please, everything on Mattio's menu is made with quality ingredients, and that is the reason people proudly pass the word about their great food. They have hand-tossed pizzas, gyros, subs, hoagies, calzones, strombolis, wingdings. I'm getting hungry. Mattio's Pizza and Subs has it all, including their signature Iron Man hoagie, which feeds Bob and his wife for an entire week. I understand. That's the word there. Mattio's across from Dresser Stadium along the river right next to Clark Candy's. Just look for Dresser Stadium and you'll find Mattio's. It's right there. And they're extra happy at Mattio's this week because Highlands has won 2 in a row and have now put themselves back into contention for the playoffs. So that's good. So we're going to try the mystery profile, and I'm going to see if I know this one. This is interesting. Okay, Terry, here we go. First clue, is up. This is the $100 clue. Here we go. In college, he quarterbacked for Paul Bear Bryant.
Joe Namath.
That is not correct, and that's what I said.
See, what I do, when I put these things together, I call Mike as a test.
Sure.
Yes, it's like
And when he misses the first one, I
Figure it's a good one.
got a shot. Number 2, it's a $75 one. His first pro football contract was for $600.
Johnny Unitas.
That is not correct. Number 3, the $50 clue. He once threw 7 touchdown passes in a pro football game.
which is a record that is shared by maybe a half a dozen.
That's a tough one.
The guy from San Diego with the big beard.
Dan Fouts, you're thinking.
Dan Fouts. Okay.
Not it. Have you ever seen Dan Fouts without a beard, by the way?
No,
We were
I don't.
talking about this the other day. It's like he was doing the Steeler game when they played Oakland. I said, I don't think I've ever seen that guy. As a matter of fact, I think he was born with that beard. All right, here we go. This is the $25 clue. He played for the Bears, Colts, Oilers, and Raiders.
Now I think I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
Give you
Oh, I'll go with Blanda.
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
You can flip over all the cards. There we go. George Bland is the answer, and the Tinker Toy clue was he was born and raised in Youngwood, which is not too far from here. That in a couple of weeks we'll be passing on our way to Ringgold.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Terry, appreciate
thank
your
you. Thanks for
participation.
coming. That is a good one though. George Blanda
Goes back a ways.
played for Paul Bear Bryant. I mean, that does go back.
And the other thing about
When you think quarterback for Bear Bryant, you automatically think of Joe Namath. That is the first thing that comes to your mind.
and when I did the research on this, guys, I'm reading about the first contract that he had. He had to practically beg to get the 600.
Oh, boy.
And there was something about when the season was over, George Hallis was reminding him about how much of that would be nice to get back.
Oh, sure.
And then he said, Hallis was so cheap.
How cheap
He
was
wouldn't
he?
even let him buy, or he wouldn't buy for Blanda a kicking shoe, something with a steel toe. So he had to kick with his regular shoes.
My favorite George Blanda story is that if you all remember Happy Days, the great TV show Happy
Right.
Days, and they were watching a game in the Cunningham's living room, and it was the Packers against the Bears, and Blanda throws an interception near the end of a game, and the Packers win, and Mr. Cunningham gets up and turns the TV off, and he goes, boys, that's great. He goes, that Blanda's washed up, which would have been in the 50s, and the cool part about it was he was probably still playing in the NFL in the 70s when the show aired, and that was 20 years earlier because Blanda kind of went on forever. So.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. And again, do we have anybody on hold? All right, Mike and I are going to be whistling Dixie for 10 minutes.
We're going to tap dance. We have the baseball score. We'll give you the baseball schedule and what's going on in the playoffs. So we
Okay,
have that for you.
let's take the break. We're coming back in a moment. Stay aboard. We're writing a new chapter with our local sports talk show, Sportsline. Every Monday evening at 6 o'clock, we will be seen worldwide on internet streaming. Go to doubledribblebob.com and get it started. The program will be taped and will air on Comcast Cable Channel 190 Thursday evening at 8:30. We'll even have a live studio audience on a first-come, first-served basis. Go to Double Dribble Bob for directions to the studio. Studio audience is reminded the doors will open at 5:30, and you can still participate as you would if you were calling from home and still win a trivia prize. Now, we're depending on you to keep the program going, and even if you don't have a computer or the internet, you can still call and be a participant on the program. So keep the phone number handy, 724-236-0430. That's 724-236-0430. I'll be looking for you. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com, where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Turenum, Blackburn's in Turenum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Welcome to Myrna's, home of the largest beer selection in the area.
Myrna's specializes in domestic, foreign, and microbrews as well as wine coolers. Myrna's Brewery Outlet has the largest beer selection at the lowest prices. Myrna's carries a large selection of snacks as well as cigars and cigarettes at state minimum prices. Let our helpful, courteous employees load your car. Myrna's Brewery Outlet, open 7 days a week.
And stop by Myrna's for their Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers. Myrna's of New Kensington. All right, folks, we are back. 724-335. First, I'm sorry. Does that mean I have to go to confession for Saturday?
It's right around the corner.
724-236.
That's it.
0430. That's the new number.
Let's have scores.
See what happens?
Baseball.
Shoot.
Last of the fifth. It's the Cardinals 7 and the Washington Nationals 3. The Cardinals had jumped out to a 7-1 lead. But I feel the need to make sure to tell everyone, by the way, we have a baseball, to tell everybody that when Pirates do something, Adam LaRoche has homered for the Nationals along with Ryan Zimmerman. So it's now 7-3 St. Louis. Cardinals batting in the fifth. Lance Lynn now on the mound for St. Louis, but the Cardinals trying to even that up at 1-1. Tonight at 8 o'clock, the Yankees will be at Baltimore against the Orioles. The Yankees won the game last night in the ninth inning. Chase Baltimore's closer, so they lead that series 1-0. And then the other two series will resume tomorrow. Detroit will be at Oakland, the Tigers with a 2-0 lead. This is 2-3 now, but they messed up instead of being 2-2-1. So even though Oakland has home field advantage, they go back home down 0-2 and have to win all three games. So that is that series in the American League. Then the other National League series, same thing happened. Cincinnati will be at home tomorrow night against the San Francisco Giants. The Reds won the 2 games in San Francisco. They lead that series 2-0. And they have a chance to wrap that one up, even though their best pitcher, Johnny Cueto, threw 2 pitches in the first game and had to leave with back spasms. So I said, why couldn't that have happened in May? But that's just me with wishful thinking. That's where the baseball stands right now.
And if you want to compare broken hearts, we in Pittsburgh have now had 20 consecutive losing seasons. But the folks in Arlington, Texas, what a collapse.
Yeah, they kind of fell apart at the end, didn't they?
By 5 games with very little left, and they go down the stretch and go on this losing streak, and then get bounced in the 1-game playoff.
Oakland was 13 games behind at one point, and came back, and it was 3 games. The last 3 games were all won at Oakland by the A's to beat Texas and knock them into the wild card game. And it just goes to show you don't want to have that 1-game playoff, because you can have that. And Bob, we haven't had a chance to discuss the infield fly rule.
Oh.
I mean, my goodness gracious, we were both at football games, obviously, on Friday night. But when
we missed the live part.
But when we got back with a chance to take a look at it, and I had never seen an infield fly rule called with a shortstop that far into the outfield. I mean, his back was. I mean, he was going to hit into the left fielder. It was a 3-run game at the time, and I thought the funny part after that was everybody coming together basically to back up the umpires. The Joe Torre denied the protest right away, and all the umpires came. It was a terrible call.
By the way, what was that in my earpiece? Okay. I thought you were saying we had a caller. I'm sorry. Mike and I had some interesting football games this past weekend. I had the Freeport at Burrell game, which I cannot explain. I can't. Here's Burrell undefeated. Freeport had lost to Valley 9-8. on a field goal, but there was no scoring, I think, in the entire fourth quarter.
I believe you're right.
And Freeport did have fumbleitis in that Valley game. But here you have Sean Bush for Burrell, who
Cole Bush
had, did I say Sean?
Yes.
Cole Bush, who had tallied 19 touchdowns coming into that game in just 5 games.
He will score more touchdowns than some teams this year.
Anyway, we found out looking at the records, Tony Dorsett scored 21 for Hopewell when he was still in high school.
Okay.
And I kind of thought that was high till I remembered, hey, Burrell had a running back by the name of Henderson who was up in the upper...
Tyler, yeah.
So Tyler Henderson had scored a bunch. So anyway, I see Tommy in the press box as they're coming back for the start of the second half, or the start of the game. I'm sorry. They weren't too talkative at halftime.
I bet they weren't.
And I said, Tommy, how many touchdowns did your son score that year that he had, set the mark? I don't know, which I think is like putting me off a little bit.
No, I think he probably doesn't know, and I think that'll give you an idea.
Well, the Burrell game with Freeport is on channel 190 on
Tuesday night,
tomorrow night.
8:30.
Well, see, when they're watching this on
Right.
Thursday.
We're going to set you up. If you're watching on Monday, that's on Tuesday night at 8:30. The Highlands Dairy game will be on Tuesday night at 6:30 if you're watching on Monday. Now, for everybody watching on Thursday night, next Tuesday, you can tune in 6:30 Highlands at Greensburg, Salem, and Bob, you will have
Summit Academy at Valley.
And Valley with Chad Walsh doing a great job this year.
Boy, is he ever.
They had a long losing streak, and they have been terrific, and they have a legitimate chance, and I think probably are going to make the playoffs because AA works the same as AAA, where the top 5 make it in each conference.
Isn't that something?
And then you're going to have one wild card. And here we go. Highlands lost their first 4 games. They're a half game out of the playoffs right now. A half
Folks,
game.
thanks for watching our program tonight, and we thank our gentlemen for coming and attending and being here in person.
Yes, thanks to the audience as always. We appreciate you coming out.
So we're back on Monday night for live streaming. In the meantime, a reminder that every program that we do here at the AKLC studios in Leechburg is videotaped for a replay for Thursday nights at 8:30. Okay?
On Channel 190.
Channel 190.
You can find us on YouTube also.
All right.
I found that out.
Okay, that's going to wrap it up. I'm Bob Tattern.
I'm Mike Pavlik.
And so long, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Sportsline, brought to you by AKLC Studios, Arnold Furniture, Buffalo Bills Roadhouse, Fazio's Italian Deli, Highland Tire, Myrna's Brewery Outlet, Lower Burl Attorney Gino F. Peluso, the Resevich Funeral Homes, 380 Discount Warehouse, and Westmoreland Insurance Services